The city is a fun place to visit, but my heart lies in the wilderness. During the day, I spar with Max. He's begun to mobilize Chi, and our conflicts grow ever more challenging. Night sees us meditating. The center of my soul world still eludes me, but everywhere I go, I find the spirit seeking me. Have you figured it out yet? The sword laughs. What do you? Realization dawns on me. You should have told me. Ah, you should work for your breakthroughs from time to time. I sigh as I find my soul world center me. The spirits of this illusory world come as I call them out. The spirits of the illusory world come out as I call out to them. As I absorb the life of my soul world, I feel the chi refine into a more pure form. I only realize the coming of day when Max stirs from his slumber. The traps see to our breakfast. I find my appetite declining by the day. Who needs meat when all the universe feeds you? The sword's point makes sense, considering my development as a cultivator. Weeks pass as Max finds his need for sleep lessen. We are both advancing, and I wonder at how we would fare against the demons. I wouldn't worry. You're leagues stronger than when we faced the bug demon. Time becomes as fluid as a river when you don't need to sleep. Come on, the sword pesters me. It's been months of this secluded meditation bullshit. Let's go defend the common folk from the evil demon invasion. You just want to fight, I point out. The sword is flustered. Okay, fine. I just want to fight. I'm a sword. It's what we do. I chuckle. I think you're right. Max, the young man opens his eyes. Yes? Do you think you're ready to head back south to face the demons? His, his eyes show some fear, but he hardens his resolve as he looks at me. Yes, let's collect camp. In short order, we prepare ourselves for the road. The sword is going crazy with its excitement. Our journey begins, and I think about whether or not this is the right decision. Demons are not something to play around with. They will eat the unprepared. The trees have taken on orange and red leaves as the temperature falls. With Chi, it is a simple matter to maintain our body temperature. I'd like to visit a ruin, Max says on our long walk. He smiles. I. What are you hoping to find? He smiles embarrassed. A sword. Ha! The sword laughs. You could, I say, but they'll likely be rusted beyond salvation. Max nods his understanding. When the day ends, we cultivate, and when the night ends, we walk. It takes some time for us to make our way to Jaril, the city I'd met Max in. We enter its walls as the sun dips down on the horizon. An oppressive atmosphere greets us as we pass the apprehensive guards. I can tell that Max is uncomfortable being back here. We find an inn and bed down for the night. Tomorrow, we'll get you a sword. Max nods. We part. Max nods as we part for our rooms. The kid is scared. I look to the sword. I think that would be appropriate. There are two kinds of fear, the sword says. Smart fear and stupid fear. I've seen it countless times. Warriors who let themselves make stupid mistakes on the battlefield. I wonder if I'm not likely to make such mistakes. Don't worry, Bear. You've got me to save you when you do something stupid. But the kid doesn't have such security. I process the words. The sword is expressing doubt that I was reluctant to express. We'll keep him safe. I tell myself as much as I tell the sword. Night passes. The day comes, and Max and I find our way to a blacksmith shop. Weapons and armor rest next to nails and farming equipment. What can I do for you? A large, top-heavy man asks from behind the counter. We're looking for a sword. Max defers to my decision. The man smiles. I can do swords. What are you looking for? Can I assume that this is for your beastkin servant? Max flinches at the question, but I smile and say yes. There are plenty of common swords I can sell you, but if you've got coin burning in your pocket, I can show you my best. The man looks to me expectantly. Show me your best. The blacksmith smiles a toothy grin before turning to the back room. He returns with 3 swords in their scabbards. They line up on the counter. I take one in hand and draw it from its confines. "Ha!" the sword says. "This is what the man calls high grade?" I move on to the next sword. Again the sentient sword shows its disdain. When I draw the third blade, there is a pause to the sword's reaction. It says. I'm still better. I chuckle. This one. The store owner looks to me curiously. You have a good eye. We conclude our transaction with a price tag I never would have even considered paying out before the auction. Max gratefully accepts the superior grade sword. Thank you. I shrug it off and move on to our next pressing matter. The expedition south sees hundreds gathered at the perimeter of the city. A garrison commander organizes an army of would-be adventurers and soldiers for deployment to the Wall. Max and I find out find our places in the mass of people. It takes some time for us to understand the formation we're being ordered into. Secretaries take down our information by rank and file. Thank you for joining us in this campaign, the commander yells out. We will depart shortly. Understand that you are now a branch of the Empire's military. We expect you to respect the chain of command as we confront this crisis at the Wall. Follow orders, and the gods willing, you'll make it back alive. Max looks to me nervously. It'll be fine. I hope I sound convincing. Before long, we're marching out of the city. I worry that I'll lose track of my companion in this mess of people. The march is not something I'm used to. Life as a nomad builds fortitude, but despite my own endurance, I notice many of my peers sagging under the exertion. I can't help but feel that most who took on this mission are unprepared for the threat. As the day passes, we make camp. Max finds me. What are demons like? He asks. I think back on the one demon I faced and the one I had hid from. I think they're like living shadows. I don't know much about them, but one was a massive creature, like an insect. The sword glows. They are corrupted forms of the what exists in nature. The human form demon is a particularly dangerous enemy. They usually command the lesser demons. I'm surprised to hear that demons can be similar to humans. Max and I settle down for our nightly meditation. I breathe in deeply, my soul world falling into me. As much as I had feared destroying my soul world, my soul rejoices as the spirits return to me. I feel a ball of energy forming above my navel. You're activating your dantian, the sword states. From here, your spiritual powers will grow exponentially. I absorb the wisdom as I feel my power surge. The chi of heaven and earth meets my own internal chi, and I feel electricity course through me. When I finally open my eyes, morning has come. This process carries on for a few days before we at last find the wall. The roar of battle carries over the winds. A bad feeling comes over me as I watch the soldiers flee the wall. A pounding resounds over the field as cracks grow in the wall. Double time, the commander calls out. We don't have time to breach the distance as a siegebreaker demon bursts through the wall. The mountain of muscle has arms like tree trunks. The soldiers at the wall flee as smaller demons flow around the monster. Those brave few who try to hold their ground feed the voracious, shadowy creatures. Recognizing the demon's stampede upon us, we are ordered to hold position. Thousands of soldiers rally to our formation. My eyes find Max. I wonder if I'll be able to protect him. The onslaught seems to take a long time as we wait for the threat. I can sense the terror that is coming over this array. I see men and women tremble as the demons charge us. The first demons meet our line and all hell breaks loose. Almost all of the people fighting are normal people. The spiritualists and cultivators are in the minority. The formation collapses as the demons fall upon our ranks. I meet the demons prepared. The sword revels in the chaos as I cut into an armored foe. My chi-laced blade cuts through the armor like a hot knife through butter. As my blade finds the creature's vitals, I can't help but feel the ease of this conflict compared to the difficulty against the millipede demon. I fall back to Max's side. He's holding his own against a demonic wolf. The monster bleeds through its fur, but its teeth look ready to tear my companion apart. Max looks relieved to have me at his side as the hound rushes forward. I leave Max to the demon while I face off against a winged eyeball with teeth. It's the most alien thing I've ever seen. The fiend dances through the air out as it seeks out a flaw in my defense. I raise my blade and channel energy into it. The demon thinks it's safe as I bring the sword down. A beam of destructive power extends from my sword to cut the flying threat in two. The monster falls with a wet thud to the field below. I turn to see Max's sword pierce the hellhound's mouth. The demon sags to the ground. My companion smiles for his victory, but he has no time to enjoy the moment as another demon presents itself. The siege breaker looms over every warrior in our ranks. I realize that until it's dead, our defense will fail. I rush through the gaps to find the monstrosity. Shadows flicker across its body like flames. One brave or stupid soul stands defiant to the creature's advance. The siege breaker pulls back a fist. I rush forward and mobilize all of my chi to strengthen my body. I jump over the man and collide with the fist. The sword cuts down deep, splitting the demon's hand down the middle. A roar of pain and surprise escapes the demons the demon as it recoils. The sword it glows a blinding red. I realize that the light is mesmerizing the demons nearby, allowing the human and beastkin warriors to push back against the horde. The siegebreaker begins to realize its danger and tries to fall back. I push the advantage and cripple the beast's movement. Tendon slashed, the demon falls to the ground. Those enemies that would come to the monster's aid are killed like pests. I am more I am more exterminator than warrior on this battlefield. A feminine giggle carries over the ding of battle. You, comes the feminine voice, are dangerous. There's something alluring to this voice. I seek out the source to see a woman hovering in the air above me, her bat-like wings flapping at intervals. A human-type demon. Tell me, little human, where did you get that sword? I mobilize my energy into a beam and strike out at the demon. She easily evades my projectile attack. Her giggle carries to my ears. My, aren't you full of tricks? I put her aside as I go in for the killing blow on the siegebreaker. The demon looks at me with resignation while I open its arteries. Blood spurts out from the dying monster, and I can't help but feel some pity for the Goliath. I am ever aware of the woman's observation. You know, she says, we don't have to be enemies. I turn from her to face more demons. You are powerful, she purrs. Join us, and we could have so much fun. Her words drip like acid. I try to forget the human-type demon, but she refuses to leave me. I can sense a turn in the battle. We're starting to push the demons back. The hours pass as I am hounded by this damned demon. Her promise of fun holds no appeal to me. Fine, she says sadly. If you change your mind, you know where to find us. A screeching sound spreads to every corner of the battlefield. Those demons that survive retreat through the gap in the wall. Every one is breathing heavily as we count our dead. This victory came at no small cost. The leadership is confused about how to reorganize with the fraction of an army we have left. I find Max. He looks he's looking from one corpse to the next. Hey, I say. He looks up, wary from the battle. I didn't think it would be like this. Tears threaten to well up in his eyes. It's a first for me, too. He nods. Come on, I say. We need to report in. I note the chipped blade he sheathes. We make our way to where the field commander is taking account. It takes some time to tally our losses. We lost roughly two-thirds of the force we came with, and the losses from those before us are similarly devastating. This, the commander says, was a hard-won victory, but I have bad news for you all. This was but one wave, more will come. And now that the wall is breached, we will face increased hardship in the coming days. Prepare yourselves. We are incorporated into the guard units, but fail to replenish the soldiers lost in the conflict. How are we going to survive? I hear a voice ask. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to survive. How I'm going. I know how I'm gonna survive, someone says. I'm getting the hell out of here. Shut up, fool. They'll execute you for desertion if you try that shit. A somber moment passes as we are assigned to our teams. Max and I are put on the spiritualist team, one of the few prestige groups. My name is Thomas. I'll be your lead going forward. The man is a tall man with rugged good looks. He wears the tabard of the Imperial Army. I'm sure most of you are questioning our chances after the last battle. Blue eyes look out on the dozen-strong team, but I assure you that we can stem the tide. We will make forays into the demon's territory. It'll be dangerous, but we will make the monsters pay for their challenge. Until the mission begins, you can rest in the garrison. Dismissed. The team of cultivators have hardened resolve in their faces af- in the in the face of death, and each of leave to find a place to meditate. Askilar, was it? The commander stops me from departing. Yes. He measures me. I saw you during the battle. You took down the blasted demon who cracked the wall. I nod. Forgive me, he smiles. It's just that was truly impressive. Thank you. I bow my head to leave. Before you go, he says, perhaps I can convince you to take on some additional responsibility. I look at him blankly. I am in need of a new lieutenant after the battle, someone who can keep an eye on the rest of the team. One of my eyebrows raises. In case they try to desert, the man smirks. If that should be the case. I sigh. I can keep an eye out, but I'll pass on the promotion. His lips twitch. Be ready. We move at dusk. I nod before turning to leave. Max is waiting for me as I move to the barracks. He doesn't question me as we settle down in a corner to meditate. Before I realize it, night threatens to take the world. We assemble for Thomas. None of the spiritualists sought to flee. These are martial artists who have worked towards discipline for years. For them, they realize their own Tao in conflict. I wonder if I'm not the same. I have wealth beyond any dream I could have hoped for, and yet I choose to face demons. As if detecting my internal dilemma, the sword speaks. You're a warrior, Askilar. Otherwise I never would have chosen you. I chuckle. Maybe you're right. Of course I'm right. When have I ever been wrong? I ignore my partner and focus on the briefing. Tonight, we will be attacking an encampment to the southwest. Scouts have reported a high number of beast demons. This is an extermination mission. Be safe, watch each other's backs, and we'll come back safe and sound. Thomas looks to each man and woman. Let's move out. There are no trails for us to follow as we navigate the primeval woodland. Our file follows Thomas's lead until we come out to view an open ravine. In the dark, it's hard to view the shadowy demons that rest below us. Thomas motions for us to descend. When we're about halfway down, I hear a long howl. Like a swarm of bees, the shadows move on us. Meet them below, Thomas bellows as he breaks for the base. The rest of us follow suit. The shadows swell sword as I draw my sword. The shadows hiss away from the orange glow. A number of my allies are startled by the light show, but I sense relief for the visibility. Re- Max draws his sword. The chipped surface has been sharpened, giving the blade a serrated look. The first demon meets our leader, and Thomas proves himself by rapidly dispatching the fiend. My turn comes as a bear-like creature barrels towards me. I channel chi into my blade and cut straight down on the beast's head. The demon splits in two at its torso. Max takes more time to handle a creature with a long neck. I watch as other practitioners meet the oncoming threat. Over the clamor of battle, I hear a deep, throaty laugh. I had heard of a unique demon from Belquis. A man appears riding something that looks like a lion. The demons pull back as the human-type demon draws near. Tell me, little human, did you give my counterpart's offer any more consideration? The spiritualists look to one another confused. No, I say flatly. The man seems unconcerned. Attack. The demons recovered and rejoin the melee in force. I channel energy into a beam and project it out at the man who commands demons. In a moment, he's off his mount and away from doom. The lion demon has no such fortune, as my attack cuts into its head. I don't have time to mourn my failed attack, as the horde falls on me. What did I tell you, bearer? This is the life. It exults in the battle, and sears the shadowy demons with its glow. I have no words to express how terrified I am in this moment. The thought of being eaten by one or many of the demons brings an ice down my gut. I hear Thomas barking orders to close our gaps. I watch Max a, take a slash on his brow, three tears running from eyebrow to cheek. Miraculously, he doesn't lose his eye. Can't help but feel that this whole mission was foolish. My chi is being spent as rapidly as I generate it. Thomas calls out for the retreat, but I know scaling the hill what with demons chomping at us will only result in our deaths. I hold back and energy and exert every ounce of my energy into holding the line. The sword loves life on the razor's edge, but even it grows concerned. I'm taking the reins, buddy. I feel myself a passenger in what may be the final moments of my life. The blood that's shed becomes my own. The sword can only mobilize so much energy, and soon I feel myself fall to my knees. The sword gives up control, and I feel myself gasping for air. You're impressive, little human, the demon says. He looks into my eyes. Welcome, brother.